m'a dit nous, bienvenue en créole, ok? Donc ça c'est un panel de discussion et une conférence que instituant en partenariat avec International Alliance for the Advancement of Children, nous organisons ensemble. After I will translate, I have my formal remarks, but for my, in Creole form, after I have my formal remarks. So, nous mettons panel ça, une conférence ça, c'est parce que nous connaissons, ça fait une année, que gagné un ouragan Mathieu qui a frappé le Grand Sud, surtout le Grand Sud d'Haïti. Même si l'ouragan Mathieu, ce n'est pas seulement le Grand Sud, mais c'est le Grand Sud là qui était plus affecté. Donc, généralement, nous voyons qu'à chaque fois qu'il y a une catastrophe dans le pays sud et surtout en Haïti, nous sommes capables de voir actuellement avec l'utilisation des réseaux sociaux, tant pour Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, qu'on paquet d'organisations, personnes, ressources qui toujours demandé pour GoFundMe, etc. Ou bien, les catastrophes naturelles qui passent dans le pays, nous, il y a des organisations tant pour la Croix-Rouge internationale, tant pour UNICEF, nous avons toujours des tendances, ces organisations, ça a été aller pour Haïti. Mais généralement, toujours quand on a un gros problème dans le type de série d'organisations qui jouent aide sur Haïti. Donc, on joue aide sur Haïti, mais ça qui passe, les arrivés à Haïti, c'est louer gros chambre hôtel, c'est prendre louer belle machine, et puis l'argent, généralement, retourné aux États-Unis et dans l'autre pays, encore l'argent pas joindre monde qui victime. Donc, dans ce sens, ça, Institut des études haïtiennes, que moi-même j'ai dirigé, donc nous avons l'autre approche. Nous avons une approche, nous connaissons que, par exemple, le développement local intégré sont très fondamental. Donc, il y a une organisation, ça en anglais, nous avons les community-based development, et puis nous avons des organisations de la société civile. Eh bien, en pile organisation, ça, donc on a fait du très bon travail avec très peu de moyens au gagné pour aider les victimes. Mais généralement, travail, organisation, ça, monde pas connaît. Donc, conférence ou bien discussion que nous allons gagner après-midi, ça, c'est la logique ça que l'on inscrit. International Alliance for the Advancement of Children, c'est une organisation qui a fait un bon travail. Torbec, par exemple, Torbec, c'est la moins née, c'est la lombrique moins enterrée. Donc, Torbec, nous connaissons, pour nous qui ne connaissent pas, c'est la cité de Bois-en-Tonnerre. Bois-en-Tonnerre, c'est lui-même qui a écrit l'acte de l'indépendance d'Haïti, qui a dit qu'il nous faut la peau d'un blanc pour parchemin, son sang pour encre, son crâne pour écriteau, une baïonnette pour plume. Non seulement ça, Torbec, tout, c'est la cité de Justin Lérisson, qui c'est un gros poète écrivain. Donc, Torbec va en pile pour intellectuel dans l'histoire du pays d'Haïti. Mais Torbec, tout, c'est un grenier, on est capable de dire alimentaire lié pour tout Haïti. Donc, à International Alliance for the Advancement of Children, il est basé à Torbec, côté, il a investi dans l'éducation Timoun. Ok, donc nous connaissons Timoun très important pour le développement durable, pour le développement humain. Donc, c'est le cadre général, ça, nous-mêmes, comme institution, nous gagnons pour connaissance que nous avons produit. Travail institution, travail Brooklyn College, il doit marquer avec l'environnement côté l'implanté. Donc, dans ce sens, ça, pour moi-même, c'est vraiment important. Type d'activité, ça, côté pour nous travailler avec organisation communautaire, ça, pour nous faire une plateforme institutionnelle, pour plus nous capables de comprendre le travail à faire et pour nous-mêmes, pour nous capables de supporter le travail, type d'organisation, ça. Donc, ça, c'est en créole, comme moi, j'ai préparé, remarque, moi en anglais, donc moi, j'ai dit directement pour nous en anglais. Ok, mais nous-mêmes, nous devons comprendre la logique là. This afternoon, it is with great pleasure I welcome you to the conference, Disaster Preparedness and Sustainable Development in Haiti, organized by the International Alliance for the Advancement of Children in partnership with the CUNY University of New York Haitian Studies Institute. I would like to recognize the hard work of Ms. Ghislaine George, the founder of the International Alliance for the Advancement of Children, in the making of this afternoon event. Before formally producing my contextual remark for helping you to understand the relevance of this conference, I would like to give a brief background on the Haitian Studies Institute housed here at Brooklyn College. After several years of intellectual and political struggle headed by the Haitian American community, on Monday, May 2nd, 2016, the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York, CUNY, approved unanimously the creation of the university-wide Haitian Studies Institute housed at Brooklyn College. Then, on Wednesday, August 24, 2016, I was welcomed as the founding director of the CUNY Haitian Studies Institute. So the institute has just commemorated its first year of existence. Mission and goal of the Haitian Studies Institute. CUNY Haitian Studies Institute is an academic unit aimed to encourage and support studies on Haiti and Haitian living abroad. The Institute's main commitment is to engage in analysis and research to have a better understanding of policies and projects oriented toward Haiti and the Haitian community, and policies that link scholarship programs on Haiti to social action impacting the life of the Haitian people, Haitian population, and other racial and ethnic communities. The mission of the CUNY Haitian Studies is to contribute to the advancement of the academic field of Haitian studies through interdisciplinary research and practice. In that posture, the Haitian Studies Institute is devoted into the process of facilitating community outreach and collaboration with emerging scholars, university professors, students, public school teachers, and educational agencies conducting research and or serving the Haitian population and other diasporic communities. The goal of the CUNY HSI as follow: to become a leading international research institute in the field of the Haitian studies, to embrace and support scholar and connect institutions pursuing scholarship on Haiti, Haitian and or people of Haitian origin, to augment capacity for collaboration between CUNY and higher education institutions in Haiti and those involved in research on Haiti and the Haitian community, to examine, celebrate and praise achievement of Haitian and Haitian American on the world stage, and to connect research through community outreach that broadens understanding about policies that affect daily life of Haitian, of Haiti, the United States, and other countries. First of all, I would like to point out that this afternoon event is inscribed into the work I have done at the Haitian Studies Institute for moving forward the politics of memory, and it is as well as a manifesto of our great solidarity toward the suffering of the Haitian people. As you know, on October 4, 2016, Matthew, a Category 4 hurricane, hit the island of Haiti, mainly the southern peninsula known as the Grand Sud or the Great South, one of the bread baskets of Haiti. The hurricane killed more or less 1,000 people and left at least 1.4 million people in need of emergency aid. Matthew also left entire town completely destroyed and cut off from the outside world by flooding and causing great damage to crops, livestock, and infrastructure. Immediately after the catastrophe, we sent out a statement and expressed our solidarity to the Haitian people. We said in Haitian Creole, Peuple haïtien, pendant nous traversé moment difficile ça, en kembe dignité nous. Dans ce sens ça, Institut qui fait richesse sur Haïti a tout profité pour demander au gouvernement haïtien pour ne pas descendre caractère devant aucun autre gouvernement. La demande du gouvernement haïtien prend un pile précaution pour ne pas l'ouvrir, vendre pays à un paquet ONG, pillager, qui toujours apprend ou dit sous catastrophe pour faire richesse sous telle victime. Oui, à aide internationale, mais bois long à toute aide malation qui a fini à l'économie des paysans ou bien qui a découragé l'effort entreprise nationale. In addition to the solidarity dimension, the second reason which explains why we are here at Brooklyn College lie in what I would call the social and sociological need to connect with applied knowledge, Brooklyn College, and therefore the Haitian Studies Institute to its surrounding. The third and last reason, if without the unity and collaborative work, we need to put not only for changing the national and international image of Haiti, but also to change the living condition of the most vulnerable group in our Haitian society. Though the Haitian Studies Institute has a moral, ethical, intellectual, and social obligation or responsibility to work hand-to-hand with community-based organizations such as the International Alliance for the Advancement of Children and L'eau pour vivre or Water for Life. I would like to close my remark by quoting Elinor Ostrom, Nobel Prize of Economics in 2009, who in her work entitled Governing the Commons, the evolution of institutions for collaborative and collective action, developed the idea that sustainable development intrinsically connected to integrate local development and what the UNDP named as human development. On behalf of the Haitian Studies Institute and the International Alliance for the Advancement of Children, I give you a warm welcome and I wish you a very productive afternoon work. Thank you so much.
Hello, good afternoon. You all a great one. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. My name is Giselle George. I'm the founder of International Alliance for the Advancement of Children. And I'm joined here this afternoon by several members of my very capable board of directors. You'll have the opportunity to meet them, but just briefly, I would like to introduce you to Elizabeth Thompson, who is our excellent architect. And there's a little model of our center right outside. It's a little cottage that was designed by her. And also, Dr. Lupaz from the CUNY School of Public Health. Please sit back. And we have Adeline Georges. She's in command of the food. When we take a break, that she's going to be able to give us some questions. And also our international global volunteer, Ronald Ogo, who's been to Haiti on several missions with us, and he's always here to help. So it's a great honor for me to be part of this program this afternoon. And I just, could not be more proud to be part of this very important event. So on behalf of our board of directors and our leadership, I would like to thank the CUNY Haitian Studies Institute for giving us the opportunity, and especially Dr. A.T. Johnson for partnering with IADC to help organize this program this afternoon. And this is a very important and very pertinent conversation conversation, and the timing could not be more critical. So thank you for being here. I have just a few slides that I would like to share with you. The conference really, the goal of this conference is really a call to action. Again, like I said, I don't have to tell you how critical this program is or this conversation is for the Haitian community. Not necessarily the Haitians community here, but the Haitians community. So it's really a call to action. So we would like to bring together grassroots organizations, so individuals that are really involved in doing work in Haiti to start a dialogue about how we can transfer the skills that we have and also to empower the communities that we serve, and also to foster or encourage grassroots organizations to share resources in order to help achieve a greater impact and to help make more sustainable goals and more sustainable change in Haiti. Just briefly about our organization, we are a very small non-profit organization. We are not an adoption agency. We do have an orphanage, but we do not promote. And adoption is really not a part of our objectives. We were established in 2003 in New York. Like I said, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organizations. We have no paid staff in the United States. All of us are volunteers that really do the work of the organization. The only paid staff that we have are people that work for us in Haiti that take care of our children. These are the only people that are paid, but no one here is paid, not even one dime for anything. 100% of the donations that we receive, whether they are in-kind donations or whether they are financial donations, they go directly to support the children in Haiti and also the community that we serve there. So the goal really is to raise those children so that they can become leaders in their own communities. So the idea is not really to bring them to the United States or to find them families to adopt them. So the goal is to really educate these children to see what their potentials are so that they can become leaders and really they will really change agents in their own community. Now, again, like I said, the conversation or this program could have been even more critical. We started to think about a way to commemorate the devastation that Hurricane Matthew caused in Haiti about 1 year ago exactly. And we did not even know that there were such impending storms that were coming our way. And little did we know that Haiti, came to the brink of another destruction again. I remember driving, I was on the bridge and I called Elizabeth and I was frantic. I was like, Elizabeth, the storm is coming, what are we gonna do? So we were trying to think about the ways that we can better prepare our orphanage in Haiti because they were hit last time, but they were in a better position than most of the community. So in terms of impact, in terms of why this conversation is so important. Now this is just, just at a glance. In 2005, right now I think as we speak, there is a Hurricane Nate is actually raging in Mexico and also in other parts on its way to some parts of the United States. So we don't know exactly what the impact of Hurricane Nate is. But combined, about 170 people died with all the destructions that happened even in Puerto Rico. We see how bad things are in Puerto Rico. But in 2016, Matthew killed about 683 people. Okay, and 91% of those people, or 546 of them, just that happened just in Haiti alone. And we're not talking about the entire island of Haiti, we're talking about just the southern region. And so that is very meaningful, that is very significant. But in terms of impact, in addition to the people that died, so now we're not talking about people that died after the hurricane happened because of spread of cholera and other diseases. We're talking about just people that are swept away through the storm. And in terms of impact, and as we know, especially those of us who are Haitians that are familiar with Haiti, we know that not every Haitian person who lives in Haiti has an ID card. So therefore, when someone dies, they don't necessarily get reported to the authorities. So the 546 people that we're talking about are just, probably like the tip of the iceberg. But people that the sheer number of people that died, we probably will never know that. Because when people die in the villages, they just take care of it. They take care of themselves, and they are part of bodies that are being swept away through the flood. So we don't know exactly how many people actually die just from the hurricane alone. So these are numbers that were pointed out after the hurricane. And so in terms of number of people affected, about 1.6 million people. Again, we're talking about just the southern region. About 100 homes were destroyed. 128 people were missing. Again, that's what people have reported. This is not an actual number. And the 546 people, that was just the number of people that are not sure. So these are, I'm going to show you just some slides very briefly. Again, we see cars being swept away. People trying to escape, carrying their children on their back, and just to try to get, they don't even know where they're going to. And now this is the hospital that Elizabeth and I and Ronald and a lot of us are very familiar with. And this is the general hospital in downtown Lake Island. So this is the hospital that we go to after the hurricane, after the earthquake that we went there with our team of doctors. We took care of patients. Every time that we go there, we go to visit children, we take supplies to them. So this was the yard of the hospital, right, the day of the hurricane. Meaning that all the patients were there. There was no evacuation. And so we're talking about, people just in Now, what's important to note is that, again, going back to this slide, the difference is that when we see, for instance, when there are calls for people to evacuate, when there is a storm coming our way, we do, in cases, we may not see images like that, but in some cases, people do that because they refuse to live for whatever reason. They refuse, they don't believe that the storm is going to be as severe as they forecasted it's going to be. So a lot of people make personal choices for various reasons. But when we see these images, what we have to remember is that there is not a safety boat that's going to catch those people at any end. The only way that they're going to be safe is only if they hit a tree or maybe they climb off the tree. That's the only way that they are going to survive. Otherwise, they just have to fend for themselves. So there's no one that's going to catch them. There's no safety boat. There is no Coast Guard, there's no 911, so you are on your own. So don't think that these people are there and then they're running to safety or anywhere down the road. We think about, again, we're thinking about ways to remember the destruction that Matthew left in Haiti. Because we are here enjoying our home, for us it's really, we can think about Matthew in the past tense. But I can tell you that the communities that we serve in Haiti right now, it still looks like this. We were there just a few months ago. Elizabeth and I were just there a few months ago. This is what it still looks like. So they don't have to remember because they are still living the devastation. It doesn't go away. There's no construction. There's no reconstruction going on. People have to fend for themselves, and they just have to pray that it doesn't rain because this is what they were able to do just to shelter away from the sun. And as you can see, there's no way that if it rains that they can enjoy one good night of sleep with their children. And there's no safety, there's no privacy, and this is what they are continuing to live with. This is a church. We named this after one of our interns that went to Haiti. There was a little house there. It was like a little hut. And one of our college interns that went to spend the summer in Haiti a couple of years ago, she went to the church. At the time, the church was standing there, but the church was so small and so sad, and she started crying because it's a Catholic church, and she knows exactly how magnificent the churches are in the United States. And she went there, and she just felt sorry for our country, and she started crying. And then when Matthew came and just swept away the little church. So this is what's left there right now. So people just bring their chairs in the afternoon on a Sunday, they continue to congregate there, and this is what remains of their church. So we did what we could. When the hurricane happened, we collected donations from various individuals. Again, we are small organizations. We don't get grants. We don't get big funding from the NGOs, but we do what we can. And we put together the donations that we received, that we put together a 40-foot container. We shipped to Haiti. We also got a donor that gave us a used pickup truck that we were able to send to Haiti with us, and that was like the last, final spending seal before they came to take the container away to be shipped to Haiti. And this is when all this stuff arrived on our yard. So we had our children, we had volunteers that packaged everything and put it all together. And this is Elizabeth sitting here. She was the designated driver. And so we put together bundles of goods. And we, like I said, everything that we receive, we take, we are a good custodian of those goods. So we make sure that those goods go exactly to the people that they intend to. So we put together bundles that had like everything from medication to shoes to clothing. And then we went from village to village and to distribute those things ourselves. And all the places that we went to, it was, we sent the container, I think, like around November, and it wasn't until February when we were able to go through like all the regulations and all of that to get the container out. So it was February when we went to these villages, and people were still telling us that this is the first time that anyone had ever visited them. They had not seen anyone from the big organizations, and they did not see anyone from the local body, and they didn't even know who the mayor of the town was. So we were the only first point of contact that they had. So we give everything, like I said, we give food. This is one of the villages that we went to. That village is, technically it's right in the back of our facility. So we are the only source of clean drinking water for like a 5-mile radius where we are located. So we provide water for that community and also the surrounding villages around us. But that village, people from that village can literally cross over in, 10 minutes just to walk if they just have to cross the river to come to fetch water from our facility. But when it rains, when the river rises, they cannot come across, so they have to walk around, so it would take them about 1 hour. So when there's bad weather, so they literally drink from the open pool, from the open river. And we had that tested, and there's nothing but feces in that river, because it's just a free-flowing river where you have animals, where people take a bath, and when they wash their clothes, but this is the only source of drinking water that they have. Unless they cross, then they are able to come to our facility. Again, we help, just a pair of shoes or just a wash basin we give to people, and you change, making immediate change. Again, this is one of the homes that was destroyed, and this is Elizabeth again with Admin Georges, who's also in charge of the food right now. So we were able to put a temporary home again for this family of 6 that had just, and again, the first slide we showed, this is what their home looked like when we went there. So we helped put together this tent for them that was like a 3-room tent that was able to house them. And we went to a hospital, donated sanitary things, like toiletries, wash basin, sheets for the beds, and again to help provide a little bit of dignity for all those people. Again, this is the water, this is the source of water coming from our well, and we had that tested by a lab in New York, so that water is very safe. Our children drink that water, we drink from that water. And then this is the river that runs behind our facility. This is where people drink when they're not able to cross over to come over here to not get work to take home. So we collaborate. We are looking for more collaboration. We collaborate with other organizations to help have impact. Again, during the hurricane, one of the things that we're able to do is really outreach to other small organizations like ourselves. There's an organization in Connecticut. It's called New World Women Association of Connecticut. They had collected a lot of school supplies, very beautiful new backpacks and notebooks and things like that. But they don't have a presence in Haiti. They don't have any place where they could responsibly send those things to. So they were collecting these things for a number of years, and they didn't even know how they were going to distribute them. So when we reached out to them, they were more than happy to partner with us and donate those goods to us, and we were able to go from classroom to classroom. And this is one of our oldest children at the orphanage. She worked with Elizabeth, and then she made sure that every child in the classroom received a new backpack, that they received notebooks and other school supplies, so we were able to distribute those things responsibly. And also, we partner with Footwear for the World. They have their information at our table. They provide shoes, and we were able to distribute shoes to the schools, to the students, and to everyone that needs a pair of shoes. But again, this is an organization that is based in the United States. They provide shoes. Again, their information is outside. You should take one of their cards. If you have programs in Haiti that can use them, you should reach out to them, and they'll be able to provide shoes for your community as well. We also partner with another organization. They are based in California. They are called Dental Care for Children. They travel to Haiti with us at least a couple of times a year. And again, when we travel, all the services that we provide, they are not limited to the children at our orphanage. The services that we provide, including the goods that we distribute, we provide services, we provide goods to everyone in the community, adults and children alike. You cannot see that this is Elizabeth again driving the truck. All the trees in our yard, they are fruit trees. So we have like breadfruit, we have coconut, we have things that our children live off of. So a lot of the trees were, all of the trees were damaged. So when we went there, Elizabeth was able to pull a lot of them and try to bring some life back into them. And also our walls were damaged and our gates were damaged with our security. So again, we were able to collaborate with some organizations. And one of them is the Bill Haiti Foundation, and whose founder is sitting here. He donated a grant to our organization with another small organization in Connecticut, so we were able to repair our wall, and right now, our center is, again, safe for our children. So thank you for that. This is our orphanage, and this is, again, the model outside. The model is not what the orphanage looks like. This is what it looks like right now. It's a work in process. And every time we get a little bit of money, we go over there, we do a little bit of work, and we come back. But this is the place that was the safe house for a lot of people in the community when the hurricane happened. There's no rescue home, there are no shelters. Our place was the only place where people could come to. The only other place that they went to is the church, is a big church. And Director Paul probably knows that big church at Quebec. And the roof just flew away, so that was not even, that defeated the whole purpose of going there for safety. So our place was really the one place where people can and stay, and again, we don't have a lot, but whatever we have, we share it with everyone. And these are some of our children. Elizabeth sitting at our library, so part of our center is the community library for young people in the community, and one of our kids, and again, shadow from our kids when we went there. So again, as I said, this is a call to action, because we cannot, I know when we heard about the hurricanes that were coming, like Maria and Irma and Jose, so it was just a hope and prayer. That's all I had for Haiti, because I know that the resources that we have alone cannot even help to protect our center, and we cannot continue to work this way. Even Puerto Rico that is really under the umbrella of the United States, and that's exactly what Puerto Rico is going through right now. So I think that as small, little individual organizations, there's only so much that we can do. We, again, took that big 40-foot container over there. It cost about $25,000 to put it all together to take it to Haiti. When we went there, I think we did a lot of good, but it's like the more that we did, the more I felt helpless. After we put that home for the family of 6, they were very happy, the whole community was very jubilant, and I felt sad in my heart because I wish that we could do a whole lot more for many more people like that, because there was just, again, just a group of many people that really needed help. So just alone, we cannot have a long-term lasting impact in Haiti. Again, when something happens, when there's a disaster, it's always people like us. When we go to Haiti, I never see the Red Cross, I don't see UNICEF. I'm sure they are there, they do their part and then they leave. But it is really the small organizations or even individual people that you see with a suitcase, sometimes just going from one hospital to another, from one neighborhood to another, that really make the difference in Haiti. But when it comes to receiving the funding, the donations, people will often tell you, well, I've never heard of your organization before. I never heard of IAC. I never heard of, Bill, the Haiti Foundation. So as small little organizations working alone, we cannot do much for Haiti. I think that the goal, the purpose of this organization today, of this conference today, is that this is the start of a conversation. This is the start of a conversation. We are not here to start a new organization. We are just, we just want to start the conversation to find out exactly the resources that we are already deploying in Haiti on our own with our individual little organizations. How can we bring those resources together? How can we find out what each person is doing so that when a disaster strikes, we can just call upon one another and say that I have this, can you use that? I cannot go to Haiti right now, but these are the resources that I have. I can entrust my resources to you because I know you're going to put them to good use. Or you can help with other resources that you have. It may not be concrete resources. It could be just manpower that you have in Haiti or over here just to help stack up supplies. Or it could be just contacts that you have with local authorities in Haiti that can make a big difference. How can we pull those resources together? And also, how can we hold the big organizations that are making money on the back of the Haitian people? How can we hold them accountable so that maybe we cannot receive the millions of dollars that they are receiving, but we can demand what are they doing with that money? Why can they go instead of just going there to look for the bodies? Why is that they cannot go? They know when a disaster is going to strike. They know that Haiti doesn't have the resources to evacuate people. Why can they go in advance to help with pre-evacuation? Why can they go and set up shelters and bring food to the areas they know that are going to be affected so that they can help these people to have a fighting chance? So this is the conversation that we would like to start here today. And again, I'm going to start because we are not here to talk. Again, this is all of you are going to partake in this conversation, and we are going to ask you to brainstorm to come up with some ideas because again, we would like to know if for instance, Haiti is coming or is striking somewhere in this country right now, if that were to change course and go to Haiti, what is it that we can do so that we can do something even greater in the little community that we serve, as opposed to just what I am able to do in just my little town. So thank you very much. Okay, so if you look on your program, so the next part of our presentation is going to be a workshop, which Elizabeth Thompson is going to be leading for us along with Onalubu.
Yeah. I see this as just an open conversation.
Yes.
It's sort of split into pre-disaster education, during disaster rescue and post-disaster, and what are things that we can talk about doing or implementing in each of those phases. Before a disaster, talking about just communications, how can we get the word out to these people up in the mountains who have no electricity, no radio. I think that was a big reason for the death count. They didn't even know a storm was coming, and these gusts were up to 175 miles an hour. So, absolutely devastating. Does anybody, I'd really like to have Haitians speak about this. Is there anyone who can't hear me?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, sounds.
I beg your pardon?
No, we have the acoustic sound.
Yes,
So
yes,
we
so you can hear me.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to turn it over to Ruta. Talk about anything.
As Gigi mentioned about in terms of pre-education, and I think that having listened to the president a couple of weeks ago speaking, and I think that what Liz just mentioned in terms of announcement and the fact that people in the mountains are not able to be privy of the oncoming danger. But from what I've heard from him, there is a great program in terms of communication and electricity and stuff like that. And I think he mentioned, and I've seen it because I'm from that area where Tiburon and Lesiwa is being electrified. So this is one step forward. However, Gigi and I, we traveled after the earthquake back in 2010. It was about 6 weeks after. And I think what we witnessed shouldn't have happened if in fact that we had a system in place. And I think one of the issues that we have in our community, whether or not it's in Haiti and also in the diaspora, is the lack of collaboration. And I think Gigi kind of stressed on that. We have so many organizations that are doing this, that, and the other, but the coordination is very poor in terms of delivery. I remember after the hurricane, there was a big press conference by local officials. The governor, the mayor came and said, we're going to do this, and 3 weeks later, nothing was being done. And I think that we have to change that MO to stop being a single operator and be a collective operator in terms of how we handle not only pre-disaster, but also during the disaster. I mean, we know for a fact that the disaster is coming. We know that the hurricane's coming, but how do we educate our people? And I think that that's one of the discussions that needs to take place. It's not a lack of resources in terms of collection. We collect goods, we collect clothes, we collect drugs for the people in Haiti. But how do we channel that, to a single organization to do the distribution? And I think that in the past, the government of Haiti is a culprit as well. In terms of, Gigi just mentioned about how, she went through custom and trying to take those goods out of custom, and it's an uphill battle in terms of cost, in terms of the hoops that we have to go through. And having been collaborating with several organizations, especially in the South, and I know firsthand how that can be a hindrance. But I think that this conversation is one that needs to be had, but this is a start. So
ideas from you, that's what you are trying to generate. You're trying to get ideas that collectively that we can use. Again, you have a lot of ideas, I'm sure of it. And so we need to get some ideas together, and again, we have to think broadly, but we have to be very realistic about how we can really put them into action at the community level. So these are the ideas that, looking at the 5, they don't have to be limited to these, but just to try to get a focus of the conversation, just throw some ideas out there. Again, it's not.
Well, that's the question. That's the question that we're trying to raise here. Have those questions been raised to the local populations or not yet? No, that has not been considered to.
Well, we have not. We have not gone over there. For instance, we know. I cannot speak for like Haiti in general, but I think that the town where we work is a very good representation of at least the provinces. For example, I know that there is no evacuation, there's no pre-disaster, there's no pre-disaster education that goes on in the town where we are. So when a hurricane is coming, I have to get on the phone to tell my staff that this is what you need to do. You have to stock up on water, although we do have a well at our facility, but you may not be able to go outside. You have to fill up, you have to go do grocery shopping, you have to do a lot of things. So we tell them what we can, but there's no planning going on. And again, they have us here that we know what's going on, but again, not all the community is so privileged to have that line of communication with the outside. Again, so we are trying to we are doing all this work, and I can tell you that we cannot, a hope and a prayer is not a strategy, and that can only go so far when a disaster is coming. So we need to think about what can we do together before something happens. How can we come up with some ideas so that we can help prepare those people over there? We need to think about some ideas that we can implement with the local authorities, with the communities that we serve, so that we can empower them. We don't have to go there all the time. Maybe they need resources, but we don't have to go. The resources can go even further if we can help prepare them in advance so that they can know what to do in advance. Right now, they don't know. Yes. Louise?
Yes, if I may say, the organization started in 2003. We are right now in 2017. If these people have not been trained, and I understand you have actually a very small, a small group in the community. So if you haven't trained them for the past 14 years, when are you planning to do so?
Well, like I said, we plan them
Because you're in New York and you're calling them, oh, it's going to be raining. Get yourself ready.
Well, like I said, they are ready the most, but I mean, just our little orphanage is not the village. And I'm talking about, we do our part with our people, but I mean, they are not the mayor of the town. They are not the entire town of Tobet or Lake High. So all of you here, you are doing work in Haiti. What I'm saying is that it cannot be just us in just one little, organization.
Right.
I'm talking about a plan that we can execute together so that we can help prepare not just people in Tobet, not just people at the village where I work, so that we can have this conversation and then help spread the word around.
Yeah, what I was about to say is, typically when a hurricane is about to happen, generally don't happen on a week.
Yeah.
And so, Bill Haiti Foundation, one of the things that we've been doing is, we have a global leadership program, and this program is all about empowering the local community. So what we try to do is to, there's a whole lot lacking. I mean, for those of you who have been to Haiti, I don't have to tell you this, but if you look at the community, I mean, everything is needed. So that's the reason when I'm talking to anybody here, and I will pretty much start on that, yeah, it doesn't matter what your capability is, it's needed. So just your engagement is important. So what we try to do is to identify our global leadership program, try to target the people, the students, young students in the schools, and then trying to find out their area of interest. whether, I mean, we have 4 pillars, education, entrepreneurship, environmental sustainability, and public health. So within these 4 pillars, we try to get engagement, looking at students, okay, which part you want to engage in. And then so if, for example, you are looking for somebody who actually just go out there and warn people about hurricane. So you actually just have within these groups, these students locally who are engaged, and the way we not only empower them, but also motivate them, we help them with tuition. And also education, being part of our program. So being able to do that, you can not only keep them engaged, but also put them at the service of the community.
There was another question.
Well, it was not a question. Since you say it was some ideas, I do believe that workshop will be more relevant in Haiti. And this is something to consider to do maybe every May, cyclonic season. To us, you need to develop a better outreach with the real CEOs of the community. Years past, it used to be HCC and Hope that used to gather materials to send to Haiti. But I can tell you, on our nose, we used to spend 8 months later in order to bring those materials to Haiti throughout the 90s. If you have developed an effective way now to get those resources quick to Haiti, I congratulate you on that, but definitely you need a better outreach with the existing CBOs. Because Hope reached a point, the Haitian American Network for Progress, we were refusing materials, resources, only money. Because we know that would have been faster, and then with the area of influence that we have, it went quick within weeks, not even months. Then if you have that capability of bringing certain material, develop relationship with diaspora community services, with Haitian American United for Progress, with HCC, with the Progressive Community Center, with Jocelyn Mayas, with certain people that have certain influence within the community to make people engage and donating time. Because I have never heard of IAC, but yet I'm glad that I came to that conference, and I'm willing to help. I may not go to Haiti, but being here, we still could help. As you say, we need ideas. And also think about the small radios in Haiti. Don't just do workshop only, because people have a tendency of not using the community radios. They are very powerful. That's how people listen to, even right here in New York City. If you want to do something, don't just send it to an organization, send it to those radio stations, whether they are pirate or not, legal or not, and ahead of that.
The ideas that I'm trying to, again, the conversation that we're trying to start here, I'm not asking for these ideas for our organization. We don't want to take that responsibility because Haiti is big. It's a small, tiny island, but there are big problems there that no one organization can resolve. We're not trying to solve the problem of Haiti right now. We cannot do that. What I'm saying is that we need to put these ideas. You have these ideas. Those organizations, they do have amazing work too. So, but when we are sending a container to Haiti, it takes like 3 months. It takes $25,000. But if these organizations were really working together, doing all this amazing work, they could influence the government in Haiti so that they can facilitate the resources to go over there, so that it would not be so costly, it would not be so difficult to do. So it's not ideas that I'm asking for us to implement. That's not what we want to do. I'm asking for collective ideas that all of us here can use. Perhaps we can put our heads together and come up with like best practices that we can use across Haiti.
Yeah, no, Taisha, please.
Yes.
Sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not doing any work in Haiti. I'm actually a student. I was born and raised in Haiti. I lived in Haiti. I was 13 years old. I go to Haiti every 6 months. So my holidays are spent in Haiti. My summer vacation is spent in Haiti. I just had my honeymoon in Haiti. So I'm in Haiti. Thank you. I think, I'm going to piggyback on both of your, I think step one is reaching out to the Haitian population, right? So today, this organization came to Brooklyn College. There are Haitian clubs in, I can see all of the CUNY schools, all of the SUNY schools. It's about letting the Haitian students know that you guys exist, right? We want to know who you are. We want to know why you're going there, whether you're Haitian or you are the NGOs or whoever you are. We want to know who you are, right? So showing your faces and just telling us what you're doing in our country, I think will help us a lot. There are so many nonprofit organizations in Haiti. And there are so many, and I'm not sure if they're there for our people or if they're there for themselves. You know, and if you're there for yourself, good, but I think we need to give to our people as well. And I'm not just saying this because I always say, you know, we come here and we benefit and we give all of our hard labor to this country and we forget about home. No. I came here for an education, for my education. I came to educate myself. But I also go home and I give back. I give back manually. So I don't give money. I give the handwork, right? So I go to where I'm at, OCA. We teach, my family and I, over the winter break, Christmas. We try to teach communities how to plant, right? That way we don't have to rely on international organizations to send us Lay's or potato chips. We teach people how the wording, how to
empower them, to empower themselves.
Exactly.
Yes,
Because relying on international, we don't need any of these things that are being shipped to us. We have to teach people how to plant, okay? Or the farmers, like we have the skills. We just need to have them, teach them that it's there, okay? And stop relying on international organizations. I'm not familiar with this organization. I'm not familiar with many other organizations. It might sound like I'm frustrated. I am frustrated because I get tired of, as a student who wants to go back home, I get tired of hearing so many different organizations. Where are you? Where are you? Please reach out to that's what simple. I'm so proud of you because you're bringing these people here so we can know about them. Give us students opportunities to know who you are and volunteer and give us access. It's not about the money. We need to know, we're here, but what can we do from here to help? And if you are if you are going to Haiti every now and then, it can be costly to take 15, 17 students, but even if you have to take 2 students, fine.
Please, your name. Okay, let us parler non, s'il te plaît.
Hello everyone, I'm Dan. Very excited to be here. Thank you for organizing. I just had 2 points sort of concerning strategic partnership. So the first thing we've sort of mentioned is the fact that there are like so many organizations in Haiti. And I feel like one thing that hasn't been mentioned is the fact that it is the government's responsibility to sort of implement any pre-disaster education and evacuation and to like implement warning systems. It is their responsibility to get the word out, even like up in the mountains, wherever, it's their responsibility. The fact that there are so many organizations, right, it does 2 things. One, it's like, there's so many because the government isn't doing anything, so then they're not being held responsible. They have no motivation, and that sort of weakens them as an institution to sort of implement these things because they're relying on these NGOs and international organizations to come in and do it, right? So then what happens is those organizations, they see the opportunity and they do enter the country and they start doing all of those things. but then what you said, there is a lack of coordination. So one thing that I thought about is first to hold the government, accountable to sort of do the things that they're supposed to be doing as an institution for their constituents. And the second thing is, it's good to have, organizations to come in to do whatever to sort of assist the government. But I think one thing that can be easily implemented is some sort of platform that requires, and that can only be done by the Haitian government because they have the authority to sort of require all of the NGOs and nonprofits that are active in Haiti to sort of register on some kind of mobile platform, let it be a website that can easily turn into an app. Well, they'll enter all the information they have. They'll enter, their name, their mission and vision, where they're working, enter all like their financial information, sort of, if they're a foundation, you can go. So it'll be like a one-stop shop for you to know who's in Haiti, what they're doing, if there are any grants that you can apply for through that platform, sort of if others are looking to partner. So I think that's like a good solution to sort of the things that we've talked about specifically for a strategic partnership.
Quickly, I think the latter part of your comment is that the last Haitian administration under Martelly, there has been very much a push to do just that, to have all these NGO registered, because I don't know if you remember that there were a situation where an orphanage, an organization was trying to kidnap kids out of the country. And from that debacle came the idea that, hey, listen, you cannot come to my country and do whatever you want, so you have to register. However, I don't know how enforced that was in terms of, the individual or organization, how they monitor them, and maybe the registration was haphazard. But there has been something in the works as far as financial disclosure, I don't know about that. They haven't gotten that far as I know, but I know that for a fact that they've been very consistent in having those NGO registered and then exactly declare what they do, how they do it, whom they serve, and what have you. Yeah, Miss
Soraya Dennis.
Miss Denis.
Yes, local dean. So what I wanted to say to you was that you had so many great ideas. And so as a small not-for-profit that we are, a lot of those things that you suggested, a lot of on-the-ground grassroots organizations were trying to implement some of those things. I remember when we first, registered in the States, and I tried to get to the local government, and I was trying to register, and it was more so for me frustrating as a Haitian American. I was born here, but I'll talk a little bit about my story, but for me, there's so many things that you have to go through sometimes within the government that is discouraging to us. Those like yourself, that are students here that want to go back to Haiti to help. So when you think about Haiti, you have to ask yourself the question, like, who is benefiting from this narrative of us being the poorest country in the world? It's these major, big, national, global NGOs. Poverty is a multi-billion-dollar business. And so when they go to Haiti, they don't necessarily want to go to Haiti. And I'm not speaking for all, because you do have some that are doing amazing work. But when we are donating, and I'm not against donating to major charities, but what we do have to ask in these situations is, are you working with local government? Are you working with the locals? Are you working with the townships? Are you working to see if you can train and empower the people that you're quote-unquote going to serve? I don't mind, like I said before, going in Haiti and working with any local charity. But when we're talking about big business, they don't want you to train. They don't want you to empower, because when we train and when we empower, that takes the money out of their pocket. So we have to understand that this conversation, it's really bigger than us. It's bigger than what's going on in this room. We have 10,000 NGOs, 12,000 now NGOs in Haiti, and we are known as the Republic of NGOs, right? We come second to India, right? And so when you think about it on a global scale, I don't want to offend anybody, but Haiti is being pimped out. They are gravitating to our struggles. They are gravitating to this. They understand that we are resilient, right? So then we don't push back. When we get the help, we're so happy to get it. Like you said, Jubilee, when they got the tent, we're so happy with the basics, but we understand now that as a Haitian American and having been born here too, that we have to hold our government's feet to the fire. We have to ask them, if we're funding you, if we're giving you the resources, what are you doing to empower your communities? And it's not just going to happen with this conversation. It has to also happen. And I look at this picture because we also sponsor a school in Haiti. And I look at this picture and I think about the future. Because I was that little girl in the middle, right? So for me, I'm looking like, if I didn't get the opportunity to come to the States, what would have been made of me? You know, and so oftentimes we have to consider systems. When we talk about disaster relief, we have to also talk about education, personal hygiene and sanitation education in the schools. We have to train them on how they can treat water locally if there is no help that's coming. And that's what my organization is doing. So I want you to know that there are some organizations that are actually out there working and seeing how can we just implement ourselves within the system. But we get a lot of pushback from our own Haitian government. Sometimes they look at you and they look at the color of your skin and they go, I'm sorry, if I'm blonde, yeah, you're not white. You don't have the capital, right? And if you don't have the capital to them, you don't have the capacity. So we have to collaborate and come together and do more work.
If I may, just to piggyback on what you're saying, in terms of you're not white, you don't have the capital. Just the idea that was just discussed
That's
earlier.
not what I believe, but that's
No,
what.
I know that. The platform that we all are talking about, Bill Haiti Foundation had such a platform in place. We pretty much just, the idea was to identify all the different NGOs, the region in which they are working, so that if somebody comes in, you'll know exactly where to go and who's doing what. And that's exactly what we put in place. We had the platform, a website, you just go in, register. But guess what? I mean, when I started this organization, it was a big dream. I mean, I pretty much just sat down and drafted a whole bunch of different things because I left Haiti at 19. So I understand the country very well. And so putting all of that in place, guess what? It was more like a national platform, if not international, but we didn't have the funds.
That's a good segue into the panel discussion.
Yes, exactly. But I was going to mention a couple of things in terms of what Soraya was talking about. And I think many times that those city organizations, they go to Haiti, it's an imposition. It's not a collaboration. They impose on the locals. And I think that has to stop. However, having been in Haiti, for the past 2 decades, every so often, and I think that the locals are kind of opening their eyes and see the game, and they're not soft anymore. They're not stupid anymore. They want to. Hey, listen, you come in with $10. Okay, it's for me. So where's my take? My take is not about monetary. It's about what are you going to do for me, for my family, for the land, as you were saying. But and I think that a lot of organizations, not the small ones that I've dealt with, they want to impose. But I think that the collaboration that I'm talking about is about government, it's about the locals, it's about the organization. You cannot go to Haiti and impose on people. What you need may not be what they need. So get real. So I think the locals are beginning to understand exactly what's going on, and I think that they are, setting guidelines for themselves and for the organization to follow, not them to follow the organization. So with that.
With that, we're going to.
We have a question there.
Okay,
not a question. I was going listen to what the panel just discussed, what people were mentioned. And I just want to say that because what we are doing here right now is very important. I call it is the future of our country. And I still believe Haiti will move from the worst to better. She was talking about, reach out in our community. I have to explain that. I remember when I was at Georgia, this is where I graduated. I call it the Temple. It's a great school. And us Haitian at Georgia, we have very good standards. If you're Haitian at Georgia, they will tell you, they expect you to excel because most of the Haitian who went to Georgia graduate and they do well. At this time when I was at Georgia, we didn't have no Haitian club because most of us was like, hanging out in different clubs until the vice president of the school asked me, because of my networking, to bring our community together and get our own club. And what happened, I remember that day, I tell him, I said, in a way to do that, the school will provide me the resources and the money. And they said, we don't have any problem. We just want the Haitian club to perform. And that was a great experience because I remember when we have our, that we do every year, every clubs have to do party, things like that. At this time I decided like to do something different, like something cultural, to show what Haiti means. It's like, in a way to do that, I was contacting like all the CUNY. It's like Brooklyn College students, York, Hunter, and it was amazing. At the end, the student didn't show up. We did what we were supposed to do. But the first thing myself at this time, I was more focused about school, but it was like the communication. It's like us, we still doesn't understand how we got to put ourselves together. It is one thing. We're still talking. That's what she was talking about. And it is very important. Until right now, I will still believe us Haitian, we have different ideas. We want to do something. But she will think one thing. I will think something different. But in reality, we all thinking the same thing. But we don't have one platform. And if you look at what's going on in Haiti right now, I'm very involved. I'm like, somebody was talking to the people. And one thing it is in my mind, people don't believe in those NGOs anymore. We know the story about after the earthquake, what happened. $1 billion they were supposed to go to Haiti, and we know what the disaster about the money. There's like documentary is going on. And when we said, it's like, okay, this part, I want to do this, I have this organization, I think right now, the people looking at you and start thinking, if you really do want to do something for the country. But myself, I always said, if I'm part, for example, Grow for Vive, or whatever the organization helping the children, I believe they already have those kind of organization. If I'm the CEO, what I will do, I will just contact all the CEO and sit down and put ourselves together because we have the same idea. Come with a platform. By doing that right now, we can be empowered and we go to the government with one voice instead of sequences, myself, but we one voice, and we go to the government and we sit down with them. And right now, it is like, what's going on right now. It's like, people will listen to you. If you have something to say, I give you an example right now. By looking at what's going on, I understand I have a group of friends, we are working together. It's like we've been doing that since we graduated from College Saint-Martial in Port-au-Prince. And when we came here, we never desperate. We did what we were supposed to do. Academically, we all have our masters. That was the goal. Some of us have their PhD. And now, instead of go, it was the time we were thinking about going to the NGOs. We understand what's going on right now is not the way to go. We are creating a movement. We call it right now, Mwepu Haiti. That's something, we are doing the marketing right now. We are working on how to do the network. And when we will do it, we will be different because what we are trying to do is asking everyone in the room, instead, say it like, oh, I want to do, we will come to you and say, if you have one idea, tell us what you really want to do for Haiti. And we will take your idea, not our idea, your own idea. We will implement that idea and we will make it possible. And it is a commitment yourself you will be doing to your country. And that's what is like, I'm asking all the CEOs in the room right now. Reach out is like, to your ideas and to the people who's having the same idea with you. Because by doing it separately, we've been doing that for years now. and it is not working. It's not working in your.
Sorry for cutting you off.
Yes.
We'll have time to discuss later, but we need to move on to the next
Okay.
section, okay?
Yes.
So, Amy, all yours.
And, here.
Keep this really extremely important and smart discussion going on.
Please introduce yourselves.
Yes, I will. I'm Mimi Faz. I'm a professor of public health, and I'm going to take a public health perspective here before I introduce the rest of our panel, who've almost introduced themselves during the discussion. But I think this discussion is incredibly important, and many of you have had such important and significant comments that I just want us to build on them. And I think what we're coming up with is that, I'm hearing consensus NGOs are really, while valuable in each of their separate areas, we need to find a larger way of coming together and using and finding the synergy among NGOs to really move the country forward, the population forward. And so I'm going to go to GOs, government organizations. It does seem like a government responsibility, and from my perspective from public health, I think public health is the partner here, and there's enormous opportunity here. I mean, as you all know, Haiti is particularly vulnerable to natural disasters, and one of the title of this conference is Preparedness for Natural Disasters. That's a public health responsibility. There's a very excellent book written by the former president of the American Public Health Association, Linda Landsman, on preparation for natural disasters. It's in its fourth printing now. And I think that would be an excellent place to start study groups and use that book as a platform. Okay, how do we now translate that into the public health system in Haiti? What's there? What can we build with? What's missing? How do we hold government organizations and other organizations' feet to the fire to fill in the cracks? As you know, from a public health perspective, with over 200,000 lives that were lost in the earthquake and 2 million people displaced, that earthquake laid waste and created visibility for a system that was already the hemisphere's weakest public health system. Why is that? That should not be the case. Childhood mortality is already at a high at 171 per thousand. That's absolutely irresponsible. That's wrong. What can we do as organizations and together to force the public health infrastructure, both in this country and in Haiti, to improve that rate? To put it in perspective, it's more like in the 20s in most countries. So 171 per thousand is just not acceptable. Women die in childbirth at an unacceptably high rate. I mean, these are the things that move public health officials. You've got to get to them and then bring them into the communities to do the necessary infrastructure that affects these public health, should be public health goals. Haiti's still a hotspot for diseases such as malaria, filariasis, rabies, controlled long ago in most other countries. The public health work is underfunded and understaffed. Why is that? Routine coverage for measles for kids, rubella vaccination is only 58%. The national surveillance systems are unable to provide the most rudimentary data for decision making. And national laboratories process only 4 bacteriology specimens for lunch. Only 63% of Haitians have access to adequate water. And 40% of the population lack access to essential health and nutrition services. Only 45% of children are fully vaccinated. These are all part of what it takes to have a strong infrastructure that then turns into a communication system for natural disasters.
In 2016, Hurricane Matthew, as you know, the most powerful tropical cyclone, brought way more severe impacts. Haiti experienced the greatest loss of life in public population disruption. The dismantling the built environment, you've seen the pictures, launched projectile debris, flooding, storm surge, deluging rains, triggered mudslides, along steep deforested terrain. And as you saw, just our coastal residents were left defenseless. So the risks for infectious disease spread, and particularly the ongoing epidemics of cholera and Zika were exacerbated. Now, this is how somebody with public health background kind of sees these challenges. And there are special risks for vulnerable populations. We talked about some of these. There's subgroups, older adults, mental health risks. So what Gigi was calling for so passionately, and I think what you all were saying, partnerships are critical. But we have to force our government organizations to be the partners that they're intended to be. There are public health partnerships going on, and my sense is that that's an infrastructure that would be very, very profitable and productive to partner with as smaller organizations reaching up into what should be an infrastructure that is both the U.S. is involved with. It's not an NGO, it's a GO. And partnerships are building with local communities in Haiti. And for instance, 2013, the University of Illinois is partnering with local care providers, introduced a disaster risk reduction training program. These are the kinds of things that need to be known and partnered with to improve outcomes from disasters in Haiti. Other schools of public health in the U.S. are working together. For instance, there's a school of public health in Iowa that's building a collaboration network using diagrams where coalition members identify barriers to collaborations and ways to enhance efficiency of disaster-related efforts. There are many others, including the University of Florida, the University of Miami, locally Columbia University, the SUNY Downstate, Hunter College, CUNY School of Public Health. All these efforts are being presented and discussed in many sessions at this year's American Public Health Association conference, a meeting with the opportunity to network into the larger partnerships that are needed to effectively address these enormous challenges. This organization exists. I really think that networking into that organization would be extremely beneficial to create coalitions that can actually move and make change. I want to introduce my partners here. Jean-Robert Anantua, who is the CEO and founder of the Build Haiti Foundation. He received his BS in Information Technology from the City University of New York. He received additional business training from Dartmouth College and the University of Maryland. He volunteers with Big Brothers and Big Sisters in Central Maryland and is a member of Peer Service, a Christian microfinance organization. To my immediate right, Ms. Sarai Dennis, who is CEO and co-founder of Cheer pour Vivre. Yep. Water to Live. She's a graduate of John Jay College of Criminal Justice, where she earned a BS in Legal Studies, and St. John's University, where she's earned a Master's in Criminal Justice. She's the founder of, as I said, Pour Vivre, and a nonprofit that advocates and provides sustainable clean water solutions in Haiti. She also serves, and these are a couple of really wonderful things, co-founder of Women Who Inspire Women, a collective of professional women that promotes sisterhood and peer mentoring in Brooklyn. And she holds summer workshops for at-risk youth in Brooklyn, and through Envision to Empower, and highlights the power of visual goal setting and intentionality. She's been recognized by the White House State of Women in 2016, and she was awarded membership in the 2017 class for START Network's 40 Brooklyn Starts Under 40 that honors leadership skills. So without further ado, let me turn the discussion over to our two discussion leaders and continue this brilliant exchange that I've interrupted for too long.
Sure, so I just wanted to, I'm not an expert, let me just put that disclaimer out there. So my backstory is that, like yourself, I'm sorry I didn't get your name earlier. Aisha. Taisha. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My parents, of course, Haitian American. I would visit Haiti maybe 2-3 times a year with my parents. On a 2008 trip to Haiti, I think I was coming from La Lune. We were coming from a beach area. Once again, I'm a Brooklynite, so all the names to me are kind of foreign. And so as we were driving back to Port-au-Prince, I saw a young girl about this girl's age here, maybe like 6-7 years old, and she was drinking from contaminated water. So here I am, this American, Haitian American girl, I'm here for vacation, and I see this image, and this image sparks something in me. This was in 2008. So I go back to my parents' house, of course, and I sit there and I start thinking, well, why is this normal? Why don't the parents of this young child understand that water is contaminated and this child might get sick from this drinking this water? The earthquake, of course, didn't happen in 2010. Fast forward, like many of you guys, I didn't know what to do. You feel hopeless. You feel like there's nothing that you can do. So I got together with a couple of my friends and I said, I'm not really ready to go right now, but if you guys will come down there with me, I would like to go to the 10 cities, and I would like to visit the 10 cities and see in what way I can help. So I went to the 10 cities. This is July of 2011. I go there, and the earthquake happened in January of 2010, right? Almost 18 months later, I go there, and there are still 10 cities up by Liaopol, right? We have about 50,000 people that are displaced. Access to clean water is not a thing. And they're constantly going back and forth because the Deforestation station where the water was being held at was across the street on this big roadway. And there I see young kids crossing across the street, going back and forth, and they're trying to get water. And I say to myself, wow, what is it that I can do about this? And to answer your question, I looked into various amounts of organizations that were already on the ground that were helping with water. There's Water to Live Haiti. There were so many others that were out there. What I learned quickly, though, was that a lot of those organizations were for profit. And so they were charging for water. They weren't necessarily coming into the 10 cities and giving water. When I asked the members that were in the 10 cities, some of them were kind of like considered the leaders because they knew what was going on. I said, well, who is supplying your water? And they said, well, we actually have to go across the street and bring out buckets and bring it back to the women and children that actually can't do it for themselves. And so I said, well, I see a Red Cross tent here. So the Red Cross was here. They said the Red Cross left 6 months ago, and we haven't gotten any help since then. And so I galvanized, and I started questioning and asking people, what is it that we can do to help? Lo and behold, I found myself starting this not-for-profit. Like I said, I'm not an expert, don't have a background in water engineering, but what I did know is that I knew that I had resources in the community. I knew there were civil engineers that were Haitian descent. I knew that there would be an opportunity for me to work with some of those local leaders. And so we said what we would like to start is a personal hygiene and sanitation campaign. And for me, education is important in this because I think that the way for us to educate and to get our schools galvanized around this problem that we have with water sanitation is to educate our kids. And so to answer your question, there are a slew of organizations that are working in Haiti that are tied to water, but what I found is that 80% of those organizations are for-profit organizations.
All right, so I will have the same disclosure. I'm no expert either, except that I have a heart to help. And the main thing that I would like to urge you today, after you leave here, is actually just trying to engage more. Those of you who are already engaging, thank you. But those of you who are not, we need your help because I have been involved in this work since 2008. And it can be pretty lonely at times because here you are, you have all these different ideas that you're trying to implement, and yet, at the end of the day, you are just by yourself. And from 2008, I can tell you, my sleeping habits have changed so dramatically. In fact, generally, I mean, if you receive email from me, you may get them timestamped at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, because that's when I work the best. And over the past few years, Build Haiti Foundation has really looked at so many different areas of improving Haiti. And one thing that we've tried to do is to engagement, trying to find not only engaging the individual, but also engaging institutions. And the way we do that, we actually have a program called Global Leadership Program. And we also have an adoption program, if you will, a sister city. So far, we have just we have created a sister city relationship with Columbia, Maryland. And so the idea is to actually just connect a city in Haiti with other cities in the U.S. or even anywhere in the world. And that will pretty much just give you access to not only potential resources, but also capabilities, people who can actually just do the work. Because one thing that I know in Haiti, since 1957, we have seen a brain drain in the nation. People have been leaving left and right because of all the different reasons, whether it's environment, whether it is political, whatever it is, it has been very, very challenging. Everybody has been leaving Haiti, and it is time to bring people back, whether they move back to Haiti or not, but they can be engaged by working through different organizations who are doing the work on the ground. So with that, I'm actually just from Maryland. I used to live in New York at one point, but now I'm actually just in Maryland, Columbia, Maryland. One of my reasons for actually just wanting to be here, I'm pretty sure I come the farthest, even though it's not that far, 4 hours, was when I heard about CUNY. I mean, CUNY is very near and dear to my heart. I was a student within the system, and so I think it would be a very, very good idea to find a way to engage, particularly Haitian students within City University. I'm not sure if that is a fact or not. I would imagine that CUNY has the largest Haitian population in the nation because I wouldn't say of our proximity, but when Haitians come to the U.S., you have different Haitians with different aspirations. Okay, so you may find yourself with a group who pretty much just never went to school. So when they come here, they are less likely to go to the university. So you may find a much larger number of these folks coming through Florida. So in New York, you may find a larger population being students. So I think that's probably the phenomenon that we're dealing with. And so with that, I'm really imploring you to find a way to engage these students and then have them volunteer or create some sort of level of engagement with different organizations working in Haiti.
I would also like to add that, to piggyback on what you said about the students being involved, is that what we found is that when we engage primary school students, that they were very much more engaged. I visited Cape Haitian in 2012, and it was a town next to, I believe it's called Wanamente? Wanament, okay. And there I learned about a school called L'École de l'Eau. They were working with a not-for-profit from Canada, a water ecologist institution. And there I learned about SODIS, which is solar disinfection. So when we talk about what ways we can kind of empower our youth or empower the people if we're not able to get to them. I figured this one was a really good one. So for those of you that don't know, solar disinfection is the process by which water is purified using the rays of ultraviolet rays of the sun. So this is a free, effective method to decentralize and treat water, usually applied in a household level. It is recommended by the World Health Organization, and it helps because the direct sunlight kills the diarrhea that is causing the pathogens in the water. And so when I visited the school, what I saw is that they use clear plastic bottles such as this. They would fill it up with the contaminated water. They would lay it out on steel, metal toes. I think we call them toes, but they're steel, metal, aluminum sheets. Some of them are used for rooftops as well. And they would let it sit there for 6 hours to 8 hours a day, by which then, of course, the water would then be purified. So when we were thinking about what ways that we can service the community, our first initial reaction was, okay, let's go in and re-drill. Let's go and put a well in there. But we know that sometimes the wells are not the best options because with natural disasters, the water can still be able to get contaminated. So we thought, what are the cost-effective ways that we can help this community? And so this was one of those things. Originally at the school, there was a 60% drop in attendance because a lot of the young girls in there were using the restrooms, they weren't washing their hands, they felt uncomfortable. We saw that there were cases of diarrhea in the school, and a lot of the kids, of course, were getting sick. After implementing SODIS in that one small town in Cape Haitian, attendance spiked because the water was then treated, and this is a free and effective way to treat water. On a cloudy day, the World Health Organization says that you should leave the water out for about 2 days. On rainy days, of course, they suggest that you harvest rainwater instead. But like I said before, going there and feeling helpless and not knowing what to do, and then going to Haiti and working with another organization that was already on the ground and learning that there are solutions, but what do we do to get these solutions out? And so that's when my organization started thinking about social campaigns, social health campaigns. I saw some in, I believe, Cape Haitian when I was there that had signs up that would say this is how you treat the water, step-by-step process. I can also share that with Gigi as well to give out to anybody that's interested. But there are ways other than using chlorine or using the tablets for us to treat water. Right now, I'd like to say that we are in the process of drilling a well at the school that we help pilot in Haiti. But the goal is for us to become more sustainable, and going towards a sustainable solution means that we're talking about $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 being spent or put into a water distribution system that then goes underground. It goes through the pipes, and because of the water pressure, no electricity is used. We have a case where we have that going on in the town, I believe it's called Hench, currently, and we're working with a local organization called Vive Water. And they've been successful in getting water to 70,000 people in that town. Yes.
May I suggest that next time you're in Haiti, you contact Radio Quisqueya, right, and Caraïbes, and Signal FM. I'm setting those three radios because normally, if you call Liliane, she'll be more than happy to have you during her programming, and because I think the population will benefit from that. The entire population will benefit from that. So, and because the reason also, like Quisqueya it's in Port-au-Prince. However, it's really in different provinces. So that could help a great deal.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So I would just like to. I would love to make this engaging, but I know that you read off some stats, but I definitely wanted to read some stats just so that we can be aware of how important water stability is in our country and how dire the country is in need. So number 6 on the UN Global Sustainable Development Goal is to provide access to clean water and sanitation, and that's on a global scale. And so oftentimes when I talk about water disparity with people, they think it's only for developing nations, third world countries, but the truth of the matter is that even in the United States, we have issues of water disparity. We look at cases in Flint, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. We had a drought in California where the governor sanctioned that every household would have to reduce their daily water usage by 35%. Now, I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but think about it on a national scale. If we were told in New York City, this is what's happening, and you have to reduce your water intake and water usage. Every 20 seconds around the world, a child dies from water-related diseases. Women and girls spend hours each day collecting water, and without access to latrine, girls stop attending school, as I said before, once they reach puberty. Women spend less time in the market and lessen their chances of providing for their families. 99% of Haiti's waste goes untreated and is left to contaminate waterways that fuel the spread of cholera. Haiti has the highest incidence of child diarrheal disease in the world, right? And in 2010, 10,000 people died from the cholera outbreak, which was caused, of course, as we know, by the UN minister, the UN peacekeepers. 40% of people in Haiti lack access to clean water, and only 1 in 5 have access to sanitary toilets. These poor environmental conditions make it extremely challenging for school-aged children to learn and thrive as they too become subjected to water-related diseases. Of course, as we know, deforestation is a major thing in Haiti as well. The cutting of trees for charcoal production has rendered Haiti much more vulnerable to extreme events. And on the global climate, and I just checked this last night too, on the global climate risk index, Haiti is the third most vulnerable country to climate change and extreme weather in the world, after Honduras and Myanmar. Keep in mind that Haiti has a population of 10 million and is close to the size of, they say, Massachusetts, right? So those are some great statistics here. But what I would like to say is that Haitians, and I think that goes across the board as we look at Puerto Rico, that we are our first responders. It doesn't matter how quick and effective we think we are. Someone mentioned earlier that sometimes we only have a week notice of when a hurricane is coming, but the Haitians on the ground are the first responders. So as you were saying earlier, it's important for us, even as grassroots organizations, not-for-profits, really small. My team is 10. It's 10 individuals on my team. But it's really important for us to make sure that the people that we are helping, right, that we empower them, that we train them. So we have a personal hygiene, sanitation, education curriculum. It's a 3-day course, and we ask L'École de l'Eau, that's a K-Haitian, to come down and train the individuals for 3 days, by which the teachers then train the children. So in the event that our water well would be contaminated, we are certain that the water that they are going to put in these PET bottles are going to be secure and enough for them to last them until they're able to get help. Sanitation, of course, plays a big role in this, because we know that oftentimes untreated water gets to the wrong hands. Children sometimes think because it's clear water, it's safe water, and that's not the case. So for me, it's really important, and I think that's the part that always gets to my heart, is that I feel that there are certain things that I was able to learn here because of the education that I received up here. We had personal hygiene classes when we were in high school. We had those kind of things. But I don't see that across the board in Haiti. And rather than putting the pressure on the Haitian government, I think that individually that we can start collectively working on a personal hygiene and sanitation education curriculum across the board, that we would be able to get to more people at the same time.
Yeah, and as you talk about the importance of water, okay, there are many other areas that we need to address in Haiti, and it is very important for us to have a structure under which to do it. And that is the reason we have Build Haiti Foundation has created the structure, the Global Leadership Program, that not only look at engaging Haitians, like students from CUNY College, or within the City University of New York, the outside institutions, and particularly the Haitian diaspora, who are so thirsty to find a way to engage. So our structure is, like I mentioned before, we have environmental sustainability, education, public health, and entrepreneurship. So each year, what we do is we open it to pretty much just everybody who want to just go to Haiti and volunteer. So when you get to Haiti, you find a structure in place whereby the schools that we're helping, the students that we're helping, each one of the students engaging at different levels to make their community sustainable. I mean, I'm not saying it is a flawless program. I mean, it's relatively new, but I see that program can be very promising because not only you are providing the structure under which to do it, but also keeping them motivated. Many of the students, for example, they don't even know where the next meal is coming from, or whether they're going to be able to go to school for the year. So what Bill Haiti Foundation is doing is to identify the issues within those communities, and then we pretty much just let our connection, our network, know about it. So we may be able to not only address the needs of the school, but at the same time, those students who are so helpless and wanting to go to school, we pretty much we may be able to offer them a tuition for the year. And as I was mentioned to you earlier, one of our students, who was only a middle schooler, was in 6th grade at the time she traveled to Haiti with her mom. She had a blast. And up to this year, she had been supporting 3 students, paying tuition for them every year. And so through this kind of engagement, I truly believe that not only we can just address the problems ourselves, but also bring along our friends, our local institutions, whether it's a hospital, whether it's a university. And so that is the idea. And so far we have also created that sister city relationship between Cap Haitien and Columbia, Maryland. And we also try to do it at the level of sister parish. You could actually just find different churches who may want to connect with the church in Haiti. Or you may do that with different schools. I mean, just like we have a school that has adopted a school in Haiti. So if you can actually just create these different opportunities, you can open it up to have not only the individuals but also the institutions, because the professionals can come along and look at something that is being done on the local level and say, yeah, you could do this better. And so that's exactly what we try to do through our global leadership program. Any questions?
Question. Can you talk a little bit about how do you initiate the relationship? Meaning that if someone is here, is interested in partnering with global leadership program, it's like how do you start the process? How does it start?
Yeah, we actually we have a handout that should be part of what you received at the beginning of the conference. It pretty much just tells you a little bit of description about the program. And on the back, we have not generated yet the one for next year. We usually go from July, we go for about 10, 11 days. So early July to mid-July. And so over here you'll see an itinerary that tells you exactly. I mean, it's really the short form, but we get it it's very engaging. I mean, from the time you land in Haiti to the time you leave, our program will pretty much just, if you look at it, we do different workshops along the 4 pillars that we talked about. We take the students to visit historical sites. We take them to the museum to understand, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Montana. Yeah, we take them to the museum. We travel to Port-au-Prince. We spend about 1 day at the beach just to give them some time to relax. But they get to really see Haiti in all its glory and all its misery. So it's about really showing them what Haiti is about, and in the end, they really they come back transformed.
My quick question is regarding sister cities. What's the criteria? What's the process for city to city to become sisters? And then what Cap Haitien has gained from the the sisterhood with Columbia, Maryland?
Okay, very, very good question. I mean, there's Sister City International, so you can actually just go on their website. You will pretty much just see everything that they do and how you can become engaged with them. But the relationship itself between two different cities happen at the level of the mayor's office. But again, it takes somebody, a volunteer like myself, to pretty much just make it happen. I live in Connecticut, Maryland, so it was a dream of mine to actually just make that happen. So I started engaging the whole community. And so they have, Colombia itself has about 3 other sister cities, Tres Cantos in Spain, Cergy-Pontoise in France, and Temagana in Ghana. So we are the 4th sister city, and we became sister city with Colombia last year. So the relationship is relatively new. So we are, and it's really up to us. We have a committee, and the committee comes together. We have meeting regularly, and then so it's all about the vision. It's all about the leadership. Whatever it is that you want to make happen, you have to see it. And as I was saying earlier, we are propelled by our ideas, and so whatever idea that you have, you can actually just connect within both cities, the leadership of both cities, because we engage both of them. Whether you're talking about the hospital, if you have a connection with the hospital, you could easily just go to that hospital and say, okay, you know what, here's Cap Haitien, our sister city, here are the challenges that they have. And we cannot just look at it as them giving a gift, because you also, the learning that takes place, the exchange is priceless. Okay, so it's actually something that both cities can benefit from. Yes.
And if I may add on, without kind of quote unquote my church in Boxgrove, where for over a decade now we've been working with another city in Leogan. And so the parish to parish is really wonderful because it's hands-on, so you see the results. You give the money or we do fundraising, but at the end you see the results either with the school that we support and the kids like almost like at 95 or 100% every year passing their national exams and then go on to learn most of the time like a vocational métier vocational. So it's great in that way because it's hands-on. Your money goes to work right away, and also we do the accounting with them, so we know where how much money is being spent either for school or for teachers or for food. Because as the gentleman mentioned earlier, a lot of the kids go to school without food. Absolutely. And that's very important. Or water. So we also have wells and. But the best part of it is you will be engaged, because this way you are really engaged, the person here and the people in Haiti, but you work with the community, not just giving money or,
Yeah, and that's where we're at with our private school in La Plaine. We didn't go in with the savior mentality. I think that was important to me because I didn't know what I was walking into. I walked in there thinking I was going to solve a water issue, and then it turned into education, food security, tuition, some of the parents. So we hold, of course, annual school drives for the students. Sometimes we have our members, we have a rotating membership where we have donors that send money in to provide tuition for some of the students there. We actually surveyed the community and asked them what they thought the school would need. And the number one thing is a standalone latrine. So, and that goes hand in hand with water, sanitation, because waste management plays a significant role, because if we don't contain it, then it then spreads into the water. And so we're working with a local organization that we find, and through the miracle of social media, the organization is called Eco Lakai, and they come and they will build a standalone latrine in the school. It's then contained. A week later, they come, they collect it, then they treat of course, the fecal matter, and then it's then turned into compost for soil. So we're just replenishing. And so even with that, we also want to do a curriculum where the students are actually learning how this process is actually happening. So for us, it's not just, hey, this is what we need, and we're gonna come and we're gonna be the state, and we're gonna put this in the school. We want you to actually know verbatim what it is from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. Ecolokai is one of the many organizations that's actually working to build standalone latrines and community centers in school, along with, I believe, a British organization called Oxfam, where they're actually doing Oxfam, yes.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, like I said before.
The director got arrested in Heathrow for stealing the money from Haiti.
Wow.
Yes. Right. And they bought 2-3 villas in Bermuda, and if you purchase a house in Bermuda over 15 million, you're supposed to report it. So it was automatically reported.
This is my friend. She said
So this is what I want to say. This is what I want to say to that, right? What I said earlier is that I don't want us to be against working with or huge organizations, big NGOs. What I want us to do is to hold them accountable for what they're doing or what they're supposed to do with the money. So in this situation, they were actually building latrines and community centers across the rural areas that were like the hard-hit places.
Right. But the point I wanted to make is that if you are a member of a church here, if you're part of a church, it's a great way to do parish to parish.
Absolutely.
Like city to city and parish to parish. It works. I'm just saying it works from my experience for over 12 years.
Yes, and we actually did the same thing with Hurricane Matthew last year. We galvanized, we sorted out clothes, we got medical supplies. Our organization wasn't in the southern area where the hurricane happened, but we knew of a local church there that had a relationship with a church that we had in Brooklyn. And so we sent 21 barrels of medical supplies to Haiti by way of this church. So I am absolutely 100% behind working parish to parish, because I think you're able to see then where the things, the supplies that you're sending are going.
My secret note is that we had 10 minutes, and that was about 10 minutes ago, so we are going to have to call this to a close for now. I think we can continue the discussion.
We have food. We have food over there.
With food, yes, especially food for thought. I think we've heard a lot of very interesting points of view, pro-NGO, concerned about NGO. This particular session, to me, I keep hearing public health, though I think I'm the only one that actually said it. Well, you said it too, as one of your goals. But certainly water safety, waste management are within public health domain. So, and I think something that you said, Jean-Robert, is so important, and Gigi's theme of how do we build the synergy of these really valiant private and small efforts to change the country, to change the situation, to change the context and society. So I do urge people to think public health, to reach out to to organizations and universities. The structure is there. We have a very good public health system in this country, and there are every campus and university and school of public health, and this conference going on in Atlanta next month, are very concerned and involved with Haiti. And I think that is a structure to reach into that can help sustain development efforts. And that is absolutely not to take away from anything that people like Sarai are doing, which are incredibly important, and others in Gigi. But we do need, and I think what people are saying, we need a larger structure. And some of these infrastructures do exist. So don't be shy about trying to connect with them.
Yeah, and one point that I would like to make to finish is that I remember when we first started, we identified that the community needed, for example, a clinic.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have any money. So we started with the idea, regardless. We put the building in place, and by the time we completed the building, it was kind of, one of the biggest challenges a nonprofit faces is actually fundraising. And when we didn't have the money, we started talking to people, networking. And an event like this, I met with this lady and who found an organization who needed to be in Haiti. And since we didn't have the funds to run the operations, we transferred it over to them. And now the clinic is there, serving about 20,000 people.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So I will say a few words, a few things to close. So forgive my English because for people who came late. So I have only 1 year living in the US, so it will be easier for me to speak Spanish, French, and Creole. Okay, so that's first. Please, I have here my business card, so feel free to grab one. Because at the Haitian Studies Institute, we really want to engage to the community. I have realized many different activities on politics. We have an upcoming art exhibit for the Battle of Virtue here at Brooklyn College. So I need your backup. You need the backup of this, and the institute need your backup. Also, I think it's important to have event conference on politics, but on those social issues, I think it's very important. So because the institute is new, I'm new living in the state, I would like to put more people like you, more organizations together to share with the community, you know, the kind of work they are doing in Haiti, because I do think, as many of you point out, that we do need those organizations, or 501c3 or civic-based organizations. They do need to work together. And working together, guys, you will do a better job, because it was on a meeting, so I introduced Soraya to Gigi, and now they are here. So I am new in the community. I am in touch with some HASA, Haitian American Student Association. They invite me at John Jay, at Hunter, but I don't know all the HASA students, all the CUNY students. Help also the institute to know more people people that are doing good stuff in the community, because the institute want to put them together. So feel free to grab my business card to reach out to me. And also I have in my agenda to have summer and spring program in Haiti. But when I went and I spoke to the director of the international education at Brooklyn College, she told me, Eddie, do you know that Haiti is among the country with that the U.S. Department of State put travel warning in Haiti? So even the fact that we are Haitian studies, and the fact we are Haitian students in Haitian American or Haitian people in the U.S. because of racism, white supremacy. So I have some institutional challenge, because I would like to take students. I'm a sociologist, and I was born and grew up in Haiti. I attended undergrad school in Haiti. I was the dean of a library at a university library in Haiti. I know my country. I know we have bad things and we have good things. So because I got my master's degree in Bogota, but when I got my scholarship to go to Bogota, my family and the people at my church, they say, wow, Bogota, the fact they will kill you. But I live in Bogota for 2 years, and actually those years were the most beautiful years in my life. And then I lived 13 years. I got my PhD in Mexico. 13 years Mexico. It's not the same watching CNN or Fox News. No, it's very important what I'm saying. It's not the same that watching CNN or Fox News talking about Haiti or talking about Bogota or talking about Mexico and travel there and experience by yourself. So that's why I would like to take CUNY student to Haiti, but I'm facing with institutional challenging also. So please, if you have, I have a bunch of business cards, grab them and email me. I'm the most easygoing person on earth, so email me. I want to use the institute as a platform to, provide a new narrative on Haiti. So please, and you don't have any idea how much I feel happy, glad, even though in terms of quantitatively we are not many people, but qualitatively I really like the kind of conversation. And for the Institute, we do need to have more and more conversation like this. So thank you so much for coming and help me to engage more and more with the community, and all together we will do a difference in not only here in the US, but as well as in Haiti. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What is so nice? Every meeting, tell them to stop watching CNN and Fox. They create the syndrome of fear. That's it.
Ok,
They
nous
create the
manger.
syndrome of fear.
Non, pour conversation, alors ma dit merci à vous tous, à Gigi, merci à